bridging edge loops. So in this video we're going to be learning the power of bridging edge loops, and then oops, our pawn is lovely but has too many polygons. So just going back to our pawn being lovely but has too many polygons, taking the lean principle, I pass my pawn straight on to Ben so he can include it in a chess thing he's working on. He says, "Oh Mike, that's great, but I want it low poly in style, not just in the polygon count itself." So we're going to have to bring down our polygon count of our pawn, and a great way of doing that is with bridging edge loops. So without further ado, let's hop straight on over into Blender. So the first thing I'm going to do here is just make our screen space a bit bigger. I've noticed that despite working with a tiny space, I'm making it even smaller for myself. We don't need the timeline along the bottom. I'm just going to drag that down and out of the way, and I'm just going to get rid of the tool shelf and properties pane, so we've got our pawn nice and big in the scene here on the screen. So this is a lovely pawn, but Ben wants it lower poly. Now I've already saved us the pain of going through trying to decimate it, so we could use the decimate modifier in here, and it doesn't matter which one you do, eventually you get round, and I actually want the tool shelf at this point just to put flat shading on so we can see what's happening to the underlying geometry here. You can see quite clearly that either one of these you pick, I mean unsubdivide at least try and keeps the overall thing, and yes, we do get kind of low poly, but it's the base starts becoming a bit weird in places when we get down to a much lower level, and I didn't like any of that's kind of cool, did kind of like that, but at the same time it's not going to be in keeping with any of the rest of our pieces. So one of the best things we can do is bridging edge loops. So the first thing we need to do is hop on over into edit mode. So I'm just going to undo that modifier that I've got going there. So the way that this works is we can select a series of edge loops. So let's do that now. I'm going to basically, if we look at this one here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 edge loops, 7 in total, but we're going to leave the top and bottom ones because we need them, and simply select those 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's using Alt and holding down Shift to add them. Right, and we simply go X and delete all of the vertices associated with those edge loops, so it's nice and clean. Nothing at the top and nothing at the bottom, which is great. So now we have a slight problem. Well, it looks like I selected an additional edge loop. Oh, that one was already selected on our model. Be careful about that. So let's just go in and reselect those 5. So when I hopped into edit mode, that was actually the last edge that was there. So X to delete and vertices. Brilliant. So we've got this great big hole in our model. Now I can't remember how many segments there were here, but I think it's about 32. But there will be 32 vertices running around that circle and 32 running around this one, which simply means that we can hold down Alt and select that edge loop. Do the same with this top one, so holding down Shift at the same time, so we select them both. Then under the Mesh menu, Edges and Bridging Edge Loops, it will do that for us. Now the great thing about this, and this is really cool, so if we go down to this next section here and go, well, I don't want those 2 there, and just get rid of those. Now this is going to leave some holes in our model, but bear with me. I don't want that one, so I'm literally picking kind of control points, I suppose. I do want this edge here, and I do want the one underneath it, so I'm just going to delete that one off. Now let's move a bit further down on our model and zoom in. I want to keep that one, but I don't want those, so I'll get rid of those and to that point there. So I want to keep that, so we'll get rid of those as well. And then finally, I won't go any further than that, I think you get the point here. Now if I select the edge loops that are remaining, so those 4 there, and then go Mesh, Edges, Bridge Edge Loops, you'll see that it automatically bridges all of those loops, so I don't have to do them individually. Now arguably, looking at that, I could almost get rid of that, but I think we need that to get the shape right. It's challenge time! Okay, I'd like you to lower the base polygon count. So open up the base blend file and save it as a new file, base low polygon, base LP, something along those lines. make sure you are working on the new blend file before you continue, and cut down the amount of geometry all the way down to around 100 triangles. That should get you a decent low poly base. Now, keeping the circular shape, I'd like you to make sure that the circle overlooking from the top has 8 edges, so it's essentially an octagon around its base. Okay, pause the video now and go and give that a go. Okay guys, welcome back. Let's hop straight on over into Blender. Okay, so we have our chess piece base open here. Now the first thing I'm going to do is just clean up my interface a little around the edges here and just get rid of the tool shelf and properties just so I can see my base a little better. Okay, so we need to decide which set of edge loops we're removing. Well, first of all, I'm going to go into top view. You don't have to go into top view, it's just easier to work with. And I want 8 of these, and I do want them to line up with the XZ axis, otherwise it can be a wee bit confusing. So I want to keep that one, and 1, 2, 3, yeah. So I want to delete every third edge loop. So I'm going to go 1, hold down Shift, and select those 3. Miss 1 and select another 3. And I'm simply going to repeat that around our entire object. Now this is a little tiresome. You may think, oh, I could just go and recreate it. But depending on the size of the model that you're working with, that could also be a very gigantic task. At least now we've got all the proportions right and everything else. So I'm going to press X now, and I'm going to delete vertices. Now at this point in time, we just need to recreate it now using those. So I'm going to select everything by pressing the A key, and then finally go to Mesh, Edges, and Bridge Edge Loops. There's another really quick way of doing this. We've covered it before, and since we're going to be doing bridge edge loops several times in a row, when we press space, if you start searching for bridge edge loops, there we go, and I can just press enter at that point, and we can see that it leaves a gap. So I'm just going to select that final edge loop there, and this one here. Oh, I'm going to select the right one, that one there, and that one there. Brilliant. And this time I can just hit space again to bring up this search and press enter straight away. Really powerful being able to do that, especially if you're doing a lot of repetitive tasks. Okay, so the final set of edge loops, that is 8, yep. The final set of edge loops is just to make sure this isn't quite so curvy. And usually the best way of doing that is, if we look at sort of a profile running down here, is to remove the ones in between the points of inflection. So that would be this edge loop round the top, not the very top one, but that one there. Then it's got a point here. Then these two can go, leaving that one. These two can go here, leaving that one. Oh, I'm not holding down Shift for anybody watching. That was a bit silly of me. There we go, those are selected. And I want to keep that one, and these can go. Now it's a bit, I don't know which one of these to keep. I'm going to keep this very bottom one, I think. And then this, I'm going to keep that coming out. So we've got a defined it coming back out here. Then get rid of these 3, but keeping an edge along the bottom. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to press the X key and delete the vertices. Okay, and final thing to do is I'm going to select everything and go Mesh, Edges, and Bridge Edge Loops. So of course you could use the space bar again and just press enter. Now that's looking pretty good. I am actually going to just make sure a couple of things are working. I'm going to fill in this top using the edge loop around the top and pressing F. Going to scroll down to the, well not scroll, rotate around to the bottom and select this bottom one and do exactly the same there, fill in that face. Now the final thing I do want to do, because we've been playing about with the geometry here, is just make sure there are no doubles. So I'm going to open up the tool shelf, select everything, making sure I'm still in edit mode, scrolling down and remove doubles. There's nothing there, and I'm also just going to make sure the normals are correct. In that case I'm going to use Control and N, if you remember from earlier. That just makes sure they're outward facing for us. That's brilliant. The final thing that I could have done to begin with, but I decided to do at the end, was go to File and Save As, and I'm going to call mine LP Chess Piece Base. Save as a Blender file, that's great. Let's just have a look at our details we have here. So vertices, we've got 56 edges, faces there, and triangles, those are our polygon counts. Often a lot of these just get divided up into triangles anyway, is 108. So that's perfect, that's met our specification. How did you guys get on? Please share in the discussions, and I will see you in the next lecture.